Hello, this is Exploring You in HD. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial um, on how to change your clutch plates and an oil filter. So basically it's like a mini service with clutch plate change. Here's a couple of things that you're going to need. You're going to need some heavy duty EBC clutch plates. Um, I'd, I prefer these and recommend these because they are better than the original part and they're 10% better, stronger, etc. etc. Then you want some EBC heavy duty springs. Again, they're 10% better than the original parts. Then moving on to oil. You want some decent stuff, no crap from Wilco's or whatever. You want some IE Castrol. To me that's the best oil out there, so I had that, and then I had a free oil filter with it. Happy days, that's why I'm charging the oil filter. And because I don't know how old the one is on the bike at the minute, because I've only had the bike a week. And then you're going to need some tools as well. And just to let you know, before you start watching any video anymore, you've got to soak your oil plates, your new friction plates. That's all. If you gotta soak your friction plates for a minimum of 2 hours in the oil that you're gonna use. So stop the video now and go soak them for at least 2 hours. I did mine for 4, so go on to that. Once you soaked your friction plates, your new friction plates for 2 hours, what you want to do is you want to start making a bit of clean space in your garage or whatever you do in your bike, to put your bolts and parts down. Because I can't get to the clutch cover, I've got to take my right side fairing off. So take all the bolts off, take the fairing off, put the fairing up in the corner with the bolts, and then when it comes to taking the clutch cover off with the bolts, make sure you put them up the corner as well, making sure that you don't mix the bolts up with the fairing bolts or the fairing bolts with the clutch cover bolts. It's nice as well just to like keep your area tidy with what you're doing, so you don't lose bolts and parts, etc. etc. This takes normally about an hour to do if you know what you're doing, or if you're reading it from an owner's manual and you've never done something like this before, you're looking at, I think most probably, I wouldn't know, about 4 hours maybe. Or it's best to take your time if you've never done it. Just read it step by step in the manual, look over it twice so you know what you're doing, and then jump on it. Reason why it took me a bit of time to get this fairing off is because one of the bolts was seized on the underneath, so it was a bit of a pain to get it off. What you want to do, but after you have taken the fairing off, which you see up in the background now, I've put the bolts next to it so I know what's where. Then as you see now, I've got the bike up on the paddock stands, well not paddock stands but the axle stand, same thing near enough. Just makes the job a bit easier on getting the bucket underneath for the oil. What you need to do now is you need to get a 17mm spanner and look on the underneath of the bolt, and underneath of the bike and you see a drying bolt. Unscrew the drying bolt, let the oil dry out, take the dipstick off, it'll push more oil out, and please remember to start the bike up before you do this. Make sure the engine's warm so it gets more of the oil out, because you don't really want half clean oil and half dirty oil, do you? You want it all clean, fresh oil. But say, take the dipstick off as well, it pushes more of the air out from the underneath of the bike. And then what I'm doing now is just taking the dipstick off again and the underneath drain plug / bolt, and what I'm going to do is just blow into where the dipstick is just to get the remaining of the oil out. Maybe so it's just the excess oil, but I like to be fussy me and just make sure I get as much of the old oil out as possible. Just put my finger up there, like, just to see if there's anything stuck up there, anything, which there isn't, which is good. And you see now, just blowing in there, nothing, not too hard, just nice and soft. 2 or 3 blowing will be fine. Don't want to blow too hard, otherwise the heat from your mouth could like turn into vapor water and go into the where the clutch is, and that's not going to be really good for the bike. And then what I'm doing now is just unscrewing the clutch plate bolt. So just take your time with everything, don't rush it. And where my left hand is now, there's like a wiring. I think it's for the stand. It is. And then now you want to be taking the clutch cable off underneath for where the clutch cable connects to the clutch. Otherwise, the clutch plate's going to be an arsehole to get off, because there's a rod slash pin inside, which is going to be pain. And all I'm doing now is just cable tying the clutch lever down to the grip, and it'll make that 10 times easier to get the clutch cable off. Now, as you see, the reason why I didn't record the taking the clutch plates off, because it's not hard at all. You just take them off easy as that. Unscrew the bolt to the on the springs. Unscrew them, take the springs out, then you'll take the plate off it, take the clutch plate friction plates out and the steel plates out. Best thing to do is, to be honest with you, is when it comes to taking your clutch plates off and your clutch plates and your steel plates off, look at what comes off last. Is it a friction plate or a steel plate? And whatever comes off last, that's what you put on first. And then count how many old friction plates you had, and then count it to your new ones you've got. Make sure you haven't got not enough or you've got too much. And basically what I'm doing now is if you look on the bottom, if you look in the middle of the screen at the bottom, you'll see my old clutch friction plates. They're all knackered, and all I'm doing now, because it's a ZXR, is to begin with I put a friction plate to begin with on, and then a steel plate, then a friction plate, then a steel plate. And remember, again people, you have got to soak your new friction plates for a minimum of 2 hours. I did mine for 4 hours just to be on the safe side. Don't use any old Tom, Dick and Harry oil to soak your plates. Use the oil that you're going to use to fill up your bike with. Oh yeah, and make sure that what I've just put in the steel plates, make sure none of them are warped, because if they are, you're going to be back to square one. Your clutch is most probably going to slip again. If they are, go to your dealer and just buy some steel plates. They're like £1 each, £1.50 each most probably. It's not expensive. I didn't get any new ones because they had no warp. They didn't look thin enough to me. They didn't have any markings on, black markings, so they were fine. So that was all good. And before I put the clutch plates back on, I just tested the wheel, make sure it was all fine, nothing wrong with that, and that was happy days for me. But as you see, it's easy to put back on, nothing hard. And where my right hand is now, there is a hole on that bit there. There's a hole, like not a hole, it's like an impress circle. It's like a press of a circle. Once you put the plate that goes on that to hold the clutch plates on, you've got there's be a hole on that as well. Not a hole, oh, I keep saying hole, like a circle marking. You've got to line that circle marking up with the circle on where the clutch is up, where the clutch plates are. You make sure that them two circles are lined together. As you can see now, what I'm doing now is just making sure that everything on there is fine. And because it's a ZXR 400, I don't know if it's on other bikes or not. I'm presuming it is. It most probably is. You'll have something called a pusher, which it's like, if you look where your springs are, if you do an X going inwards, you'll see a hole, and inside that hole you got to put the pusher in. Got to put the pusher in there, then the cover that holds everything on. Don't start putting the cover on then the pusher, because you'll have to take everything off and do it again, because it won't connect to the underneath of where the clutch cable is. So make sure you put the pusher in first. You see I'm just lining up that circle which is on the top right with it, which is now what I'm holding in my right hand is called, I think it's called the basket. You see I'm just, there's the pusher in my right hand now, putting the pusher in the middle. Then I'm lining up now on the basket, I'm looking for that circle, which I'm seeing it, to the looking up on there, there's a circle there. Just lining them both up, pull it on, happy days. That's the hardest part of the job done really. Now you've done all that, what you want to do now is just get your new springs, pull them on, screw them down, and that's that for that part. You're meant to have a torque wrench to torque them down to spec. On this instance, unfortunately I didn't have a torque wrench, and my friends did, so all I did was just tighten them down to hand tightness, and then just turn them just that stupid bit more. You don't want to over tighten them because you'll be buggered, and you don't want to not tighten enough and not tighten them up enough because you'll be buggered as well. So either way, you just got to make sure you know what you're doing. But the torque wrenches are like 20 quid, so but as I say, just you'll see in a minute on the video, I just tighten it up to hand tightness when you see, and then I'll just turn it that little bit more. And while I'm said on that, the hardest part of the bike is putting the clutch cable back on underneath. When your clutch plate is back on, you've got the clutch cable that comes underneath connecting to the clutch. That is a pain, maybe so it's easy getting off, but is an absolute pain in the ass putting back on. So what I would recommend doing, to be honest with you, is taking the clutch lever off the handlebars. 2 bolts, take the lever off the handlebars, and then if you look on the lever, there'll be like a screw. Undo that screw, take the cable off, and then move the lever out to the right side of the bike. Then you'll have more leeway on the cable. Connect the clutch cable back onto the underneath of the clutch, and then what you've got to do is put the screw in line with the cable, then screw that back onto the lever, and then put that back onto the handlebar, screw it all down. The hardest part on that bit is pulling the cable back onto the top of the screw and then pushing it in. That's because you've got to pull the cable and then push it, line it up with the screw. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, it's hard to explain. If you need any more info on that bit, just let me know, and I'll do another video on that bit for you so you understand what I mean. All I'm doing now is just putting the clutch plate bolts back on, and as again, you got to torque them down to spec. I think when you're doing the springs, tightening the springs back on, I think that's got to be 12 Newton meters, and when you put the clutch cover back on it, I think it's 8 Newton meters, whichever way around. The springs are 8 Newton meters and the cover bolts are 12 Newton meters. But I say it's different on different bikes, so just check your owner's manual, or if you ain't got an owner's manual, just check on the website forums. Someone will obviously have done it before, and I'll tell you what spec it's got to be. Or normally you can just find an owner's manual on the internet. You can just download for free. But so on this, I just hand tightened it and then just done it that stupid little bit more. While I haven't said it yet, I've done the part on the video of it. The oil filter was absolutely stuck on the engine. I couldn't get it off. So what I've done is, and this doesn't harm you. This doesn't harm your bike. So if anyone says it does, they're talking crap. Get a hammer and a screwdriver. Put the screwdriver on the oil filter at the top and hammer it down. And as the screwdriver goes through, push down to unscrew it. Take your screwdriver out and you'll start unscrewing easy. Make sure you've got some rag on your down pipes. because once you take your oil filter off, when you're taking it off, oil's going to come out and drip down, and it's going to most probably go on your downpipes. And if you've got a grand and a half worth of downpipes or a full exhaust system, you don't really want oil going on it, really, do you? I don't think this fades it or takes the top layer of paint off, I don't think. But as I say, that won't harm it after you've took that off. Happy days. And then what you want to do now is to help the engine save it priming the oil into the filter. Just pour a bit of oil into the new filter, then just dab your finger in the middle, and then just put a bit of oil on the O-ring, and this will save it from hopefully sticking to the engine like the old one did. So just dip your finger in it and just pull it around the O-ring. Easy as that. And as I say, put rag on the downpipes again, because the oil filter's on its side, so once you pull it on, it's going to leak a bit of oil. Nothing too major. As long as you've got rag on the downpipes, it's not going to go on your It's not going to go on your downpipes. And all I'm doing now is just pulling it back on, and I'm just tightening it up the oil filter. Please note, don't go berserk on over talking your oil filter, because it's going to be a pain to get off. All you want to do is just hand tighten it, and then just tighten it that stupid bit more with your hand. That's it. And all I'm doing now is just cleaning all the excess oil that's come off around the oil filter and on the front of the bike, just cleaning it all up. And then once you've tightened the drain plug up on the underneath of your bike, tightened it up with a 17mm spanner, look on the owner's manual and it'll tell you how much you've got to fill up with oil. My bike is ZXR 400, it's 3 litres, so get a jug. And then there's me 1 litre to begin with. What I do is now is I'll just pour that in there, and then I've got 2 litres marked on the side of the bottle, so I'm just pouring the rest of the 2 litres in there. That gives me my 3 litres, which is easy. And then I've got a bit of oil left over just in case the markings show that there's not enough oil in there. The part I don't show in the bike on the tutorial is once you've put your right amount in what it says on the owner's manual, start the bike up, let it idle for 2 to 3 minutes, turn it off, have a look on the glass on the underneath of the bike, and it will. And then now on the glass bit, as you see there, you'll have a bottom marking and a top marking. The oil has to be between that. So once you started your bike up, idled it, and it's dropped quite a bit, fill it up near enough to the top. That was the clutch cover that you put back on after you take the lever off on your clutch lever. Put that back on first, and then as you see here, what I've just pointed at, that bolt, that's what you've got to unscrew, and then take the lever off the underbars and move it to the right to connect back up to the underneath of the clutch on the clutch cable. And as I say, just pull it back on, pull it where I pointed to, where that new cable connects onto the screw. Just pull it, and then that's it, easy as that. Screw it all back on. Thanks for watching. It's Exploring You in HD. Please subscribe and rate. I will be doing more videos soon on vlogging and all other upgraded parts, so please stay tuned.